All right, I'm Senora Gose, and I'm Susie Ann Gose, and I'm here to talk to you about foreign language. So I'm bilingual with Spanish and English, but any foreign language will help you. Okay, that's not true. Learning a foreign language will help you open doors that you didn't even see. Learning Spanish specifically when you live in America, it is the second most spoken language in the nation. So Spanish specifically will open some of these doors way better than other languages, but learning and using any language is going to open doors for you and your children and you that you don't even know they exist. So let's go on through. So first of all, what doors are we talking about? The doors that we're talking about is experience. Experience not necessarily just with jobs, but your experience is going to increase. The door of empathy, being able to walk in empathy. The door to new job skills, huge. And the door to better brain health. Let's talk about all of it. First, I'm just homeschooling mama of 5. I'm not your average Spanish teacher. I love that shirt. One of my students got that for me however many years ago, and I wear it probably too frequently. I have 3 that are flown and grown out in the world, and 2 high schoolers left. I'm a public school teacher. I'm a former public school teacher turned homeschooler, and I live on a hobby farm. I speak nationwide at all the conventions. My husband actually works for Flip Flop Spanish now, and so we get to travel together and speak to all of you wonderful people out there. I take some of my kids as well, and I founded the Community Homeschool Center in Bryan, Texas 13 years ago, and it's still going strong. We've actually outgrown our location and changing that up now. So that's a little bit about me. So I have lots of experience teaching my own children for 21 years and other people's children for 25 years plus, if you count public school. I don't know. Do we count that? Probably. Okay, so the first door is experience. What I'm talking about is life experience. When you learn a foreign language, obviously you're going to learn words. When you know multiple languages for one term, right? So if I hold up something, here we go. So I have my mug here. And then in different countries, in different languages, you're going to call this different things. So in Espanol, la taza is the main word for a cup or a mug. There's other words as well. And so knowing that already gives you a depth of understanding for this item. So imagine if this is an idea or a thought or philosophy, how much deeper your knowledge is because of the understanding of a whole different culture or multiple cultures, right? If we talk about the 23 different nations that are Spanish speaking as their whole, as their main language, every nation has its own culture affecting, now this is just a mug, but imagine if this is an experience or an event or a philosophy. That knowledge of how to describe this makes your meaning, your understanding of it deeper. So your experience with this one thing exponentially grows. The meaning, okay, so deeper meaning. Meaning means communication. Communication works around language. So language is the means of communication. We have body language, we have facial expressions, we have emotional language, and then we have verbal language. So all the different meaning coming from words, actions, symbols with our hands, right? We all do all kinds of things. We smile, we give all kinds of different looks. There's lots of different meanings with our expressions as well as our body language in different cultures. Extrapolate that to another verbal spoken language, and you're able to communicate on another level to more people in a deeper way. Those connections build cultural understanding. So once you have language acquisition, let's say you're 5 years old and your mama teaches you a few words in another language, and that makes you realize, wait, there are other people that don't speak English? Well, why not? Well, they live in a different part of the world. Why? How? And so you start recognizing at a very young age that everybody's not like you. It's a very important recognition. Not only is everybody not like you from door to door to door, but entire nations have complete histories and understandings that are not like yours. Most of them are just as equal in value to your own cultural experience. Some of them have cultural expectations that are immoral, but most of them don't. So that understanding begins with recognizing that there are multiple languages out in the world beginning at such a young age helps you to have a deeper understanding of the globe at large. And you understand now that, oh, everybody in the world isn't just like me. Even my next door neighbor isn't just like me. And those changes, those connections are more possible because you're not expecting them to be like you. Your life experience is better, more rich, more deep, more full, deeper, richer, fuller because of learning a language. Empathy. So we gain empathy through pain or through experience, but typically through pain. This is an interesting idea. When you learn to communicate a thought in a second language, that gives us a window to other people's worlds. Now, the pain of learning that second language helps you to be empathetic to other cultures, foreigners, anybody that's in your nation that doesn't speak English, that doesn't speak your native language. You are empathetic to them because, oh, you really had to work hard to learn this language. I'm trying to learn a second language, and this is difficult. And so you have an appreciation for this other person that you wouldn't have had without your experience of trying to learn a language. Then also you understand another culture, and that adds to the understanding of almost all personalities. Not only that, but you gain empathy in your brain. There's synapses, the relational part of your brain is more awake because you have learned and communicated in that second language. So it's not only the experience of learning and using the second language, it's actually about what your brain does and how it wakes up the emotional part of your brain. So somebody who is lacking emotion, lacking empathy, teach them a second language. It wakes up a part of their brain that otherwise it may not wake up. Or it takes another event, possibly a traumatic event, right? Sometimes trauma creates in us compassion. And if we can learn it without trauma, why not? So that second language is important. Gain empathy by learning a second language 2 ways: through experience of doing it, and because your brain wakes up the part of your absorption part of your brain wakes up, I guess, is what I'm saying, in that portion to make you more empathetic on the whole. Job skills. This is kind of an easy one, right? Job skills. You know that, oh, if I learn a second language, I am more effective, I'm more valuable, period. You have more ability than the guy next to you. But on top of that, again, back to brain health. When you learn a second language, it's not just about the language. Your wit improves. So your increase of speed of speaking as well as understanding. So you're that quick bit, whenever somebody's a slow processor and people have to kind of wait on them, and it's okay, that's good. But it's better if they can grab things quicker because then nobody has to wait. There's less time wasted and there's less time for people to have to wait on somebody. And this improves because, again, the synapses fire more quickly because there's more pathways because you've opened up more pathways by learning a second language. Your body language, that goes back to relational health and relational understanding, facial expressions. When somebody is on the autism spectrum and they can't read facial expressions, they don't know what that face means, and so they have to be taught that. This wakes up that portion of the brain. It helps it to be more pliable and understand and grab experiences in that area, which before there was a wall. So this is a door that opens up. And so you are able to read body language. Isn't that important? And send body language appropriately in a way that you want to, simply because you learned a second language. And then your math, your formulas, from time management to multitasking, executive functioning, all this happens whenever you wake up synapses that only wake up with a second language. So job skills through the roof because of a second language. Salary. I don't know if you know this. So if you have a kid that's like, I don't want to learn Spanish, I don't want to learn a second language, I don't see what it's going to benefit me. And they do need motivation, right? They need a motive in order to grab it. They won't grab it without being motivated. If salary is what motivates them, let them know. $15,000 on average per industry per year because of knowing a second language. So that's not about brain health. That's about ability to understand and speak Spanish. You can take a test, be certified as bilingual, and get $15,000 more per year. That's more than $1,000 a month. Wouldn't that help your pocketbook a little bit? Security. If the guy next to you doesn't speak anything but English and you speak English and Spanish, and they have to do layoffs, your security for your job is going to be higher. And then, of course, your reach. You can absolutely help double the number of people, no matter what. You are that person that can help. That's such a wonderful feeling when there's somebody there that can only speak Spanish, they're looking for help, and you're the one that provides the help. What a wonderful thing. You're reaching more people, you're affecting more people, and so your life, again, is deeper, richer, fuller. Brain health. Brain health is the biggest portion of your language acquisition. This is the best part of it. I save the best for last. All right, so it's like stretching. Whenever you start a new sport, you want to stretch, right? You need to get ready. You practice the fundamentals, and those fundamentals carry you through. When you learn a second language, it's like the fundamentals, because not only are you learning a second language, so you're learning a skill, but like dribbling. Once you learn to dribble, that adds to your speed up and down the court. Because of that muscle memory, you're now able to gain other options, gain other skills on the court. When you start playing tennis, you can't figure out how, where is the ball going? Your racket is all over the place. You're like a dyslexic flamingo. I mean, you just can't even get all of your body parts to go the correct way. After a little bit of just practicing that motion, right? The very first thing, we just have to toss the ball, and we grab it and we hold it and we throw it and we toss it and we grab it. That muscle memory then allows us to do other things. And pretty soon, when you go out to play tennis, you serve. It's no big deal. This is exactly how learning a language is. When you learn that language, that fundamental causes your brain to be more adept at grabbing everything else. That's why when you practice language, a second language, not the first language, a second language, it improves your wit, your math skills, your memory, and all sorts of processing, because now you have this muscle that's pliable. It's used to grabbing new information and then using that information in order to communicate in a new way. It's a tool. So this fundamental use of learning a second language improves all other grades. When a student has trouble with memory, that is not the time you want to say, well, we have trouble with memory, we don't want to do a language. No, because they have trouble with memory is why you want to grab that language. That's why we have photos on the Flip Flop Spanish side and then the words on the other side. The way those photos work is they activate a portion of your brain that isn't activated by words. So we have both ways, and that activation then allows that portion of the brain to be active in other arenas. Muscle memory, I talked a little bit about this. When we learn how to learn. So when we learn how to learn, this is why the snowball, I talked about a snowball in my other seminar. The snowball grows faster and faster and faster because you're getting more and more muscle and more muscle memory. Those habits of, I learned 3 words today. Okay, I'm going to practice those 3 words and add 3 more. Okay, now my brain is good at grabbing 6 words a week. Pretty soon, because of the muscle memory and because your brain's so good at it, you're able to learn more in a short amount of time and actually own it. Just like somebody who's super athletic, I would say that it's not that they're athletic and then they get good at sports. It's they began sports and that made them athletic. So the same idea. It builds speed, which builds confidence, which then snowballs to genius levels. So I would say when we talk about geniuses, polyglot, right? Polyglot geniuses. So language geniuses. They know 7 languages and they're geniuses. I wouldn't say that they're geniuses and because they're a genius, they can learn 7 languages. I would say they began learning languages and that caused them to become more genius, because they were working that muscle memory. Once you learn one language or your second language, the third language is easier, the fourth language is easier, on and on and on and on. That snowball grows like crazy because so many synapses are open, which brings us to dementia. If you have dementia in your family or Alzheimer's or any kind of brain issues, memory starts going and my great-grandparents or my grandparents, this is what happened to them. You need to learn a second language because it on average gives you a whole nother decade to the ability of remembering things. On average, you don't get diagnosed, you don't have the effect, you don't have the symptoms for a decade. So on average, Average age of a monolingual Alzheimer patient upon diagnosis is 72 years old in America. If that patient is bilingual, the average age is 83 years old, so more than a decade on average. Wouldn't you like 10 more years of remembering and being able to communicate with your family and with your friends? So not only dementia, but because of those synapses being fired, and guess what? It affects everything. Gross motor skills, fine motor skills. Those synapses that were dead, right? And that keeps that one part of the brain that communicates in a second language dead, shriveled, gray, looks like a big fat prune. Doesn't do anything. But whenever you wake it up, it gives you more space to go everywhere with every single subject matter. Everything. You have more workarounds, and so it improves everything from the physical world to the mental world. In conclusion, learning Spanish, learning a second language, isn't just about learning the language. It's not like science, history, math. I learned math, so now I can do math. I learned science, now I understand more about science. Nope. Learning a language affects so much more. And so these doors that you didn't know you were going to go through them or not, you didn't think about them at all. These doors are now opened simply because you wanted to learn a second language. So it increases your intelligence, it increases your wealth, it increases your memory, which what is learning if not memory, and it increases your job security. Job security reduces anxiety and helps you in general to have a more full life, fuller, deeper, richer life. So look at all those doors. You may not know they're there, but learning a second language will open them for you. There you go. Learn a second language and use it. It will open doors that you didn't even see. So SpanishGeniuses.com for our high schoolers. If you have siblings younger, start with Flip Flop Spanish and come on over to see the curriculum highlight video so I can help you out with getting this process started. And you don't have to do much, right? Little by little. One word is one word, and that counts. X plus one. You're always moving one step forward. So let's start that snowball. So start opening these doors that you didn't know were closed. This is going to open them up. If you want to contact me, I have a jillion ways, from Facebook, Instagram, of course, my website, and then email. So it's all on here, and I would love to help you. I love this stuff. You're never going to bother me with this. I want to help you out to improve your life in all the different ways as it has mine and my family's.